Welcome back to Show and Sell. My name is Scott. On today's video, I'm going to be showing you some items that I picked up in various yard sales and auctions in my area. And my personal method is I pick up things that I can list easily and enjoy until I sell them. Virtually all of the items that I pick up, I have little intention to keep for the duration. These are just things that I want to enjoy temporarily and maybe take a little profit out of and move on to the next item. Keep that in mind as I show you the items. Some of them are as ordinary or seemingly ordinary as this Stanley travel mug. It is a vintage mug that I picked up at a yard sale for all of a quarter. And they sell for about $30, $35, $25, in that range, depending on the buyer, the condition of the mug, but not a bad turnaround for 25 cents. I picked that up just a couple of days ago. Another item, a couple of items that I picked up a few weeks ago, by way of explanation, it is an Ole Miss water bottle with the cap, still intact, no undue scratches or marks or what have you. At the same sale, I picked up a painter's cap, an Ole Miss painter's cap. And the reason that I picked these up, those of you that do not know, and if you do, forgive me, Ole Miss's mascot for years and years was Colonel Reb. And Colonel Reb became politically incorrect a few years ago, according to a few people, some people, the university at the very least, and that mascot was discontinued. He is still widely collected in the area, and much like Chief Wahoo, the Cleveland Indians mascot, or the Washington Redskins, sometimes, Aunt Jemima, sometimes mascots just leave us. Sometimes for political reasons, other times because they're just dated. Leading me back to the yard sale, I picked those two items up for, I believe, $2. Maybe I was all in $1.50, $2. And they are highly collectible. My brother worked at Ole Miss. That's the other reason that I took the items. I just added it to my brother's collection of Ole Miss items. I marked them up to, I believe the hat is listed for over $100. And it's just going to sit in a store until it sells. And at some point I may mark it down, but $1 or $2 is not a bad investment for a bad return. So if you are someone who goes to yard sales, maybe consider picking up an item or two that are maybe the imagery is questionable, but it does underscore a particular time and place. And it's not always best to forget the past. Maybe sometimes remember it, just don't repeat it. In any event, moving on. Another item I picked up was a Marvel Legends Iron Man. It is the gold foil edition. I actually went way out of my way to pick this up. I had bid on a number of things online. That was the only item I won at that particular auction, and I had not taken that into account when bidding on several that I was going to have to make a roughly an hour drive each way to retrieve the item. But it was a nice day, so what are you going to do? Picked these up a couple of days ago. I'm really a fan of buying things that are small, easy to ship, easy to list, and sometimes they have surprises. This item wasn't a particular surprise, but it didn't cost very much, and it's just fun, tactile, fun. Look at it, hold it. It's a bit of history, list it, display it until then, and then sell it. It is a Lonnie Glosson talking herring harmonica, made in Brazil, and a couple of baby spoons, 1881 Rogers spoons. Nothing too special, but just something fun that I picked up for not much money. I saw where a local bait and tackle shop was going out of business. To be fair, I actually thought it had gone out of business, and I went not because I'm the biggest fisherman, but because I thought there's no telling what sometimes an old store will have. Might have old signs. If you've ever wandered into an old, particularly in rural areas, shops that have been there for a few decades, oftentimes you'll find things that how did that end up there? That was the case for the bait and tackle shop I went to the other day. I picked up a couple of hats. Now, it is not, again, going through political messaging. That's not what this channel is about. But I did buy this because I thought it was a neat looking hat, and I also recognize the fact that regardless of the political climate, things come around in cycles, and this will be easily listed and can sit in a store online until at such time that it is politically okay to buy this item again. But it is a Bud Light St. Patrick's Day hat. And I purchased this for $1. You don't see this color very much. You see the red and the blue a lot with Budweiser. You don't see green. But I purchased that for $1, and I thought it'll sell easily as we get closer to maybe St. Patrick's Day next year. Oddly enough, the bait and tackle shop had one Disney item that I saw. It is a Goofy Outdoors cap, and I paid $2 for it. And I believe this particular run of hats, they have had them with Mickey, they have them with Tigger. They no longer produce this line. Sometimes when you go out, you'll find strange and unusual things. I found these two Guitar Hero guitars at the bait and tackle shop. They are trying to empty the shop out, and she, after only being in the shop for a few minutes, she invited me into a back room that I had to use my phone to light the way, and I found these two guitars dust covered in a pitch black room, stuffed between a couple of shelves. As I mentioned, my brother worked at Ole Miss. If the items are in good shape, and if the price is right, I will pick up Ole Miss items just because of the connection with my brother. But I picked up a nice Ole Miss cap at an auction for $3. Probably a little more. I try to stick in the $1 or $2 range for hats, but I knew I could lot it with some of the other Ole Miss items, or just list it and let it sit in a store for a while, and eventually it'll sell for a good price. I went to a yard sale 2 days ago. It was the first or second day. I believe he may have started on Thursday. In any event, someone was selling their home because they were moving out of state, and I picked up a few items, a couple of the more interesting items. I picked up from the Signature Series, Johnny Cash reads the New Testament, which is interesting, I believe, because it tickles the fancy in a couple of areas. Johnny Cash is a legend, a music icon. He has an incredible voice. If you're going to have someone read the New Testament, who else could have a a more charismatic sounding, a voice with more gravitas than Johnny Cash. And it's the Bible. Religious items always sell. And it is also out of print. Now, that you can find them online, but this sells readily for $50 and $60. And I listed it for $75. There are new copies selling on eBay for, I believe, $150, $200, $250. So I believe that this is a really interesting item that you can display, sell quickly if you choose to, or just let it run in a store until it sells. But Johnny Cash reads the New Testament. How more iconic can you get than that? At the same sale, I picked up a stack of, I saw some PlayStation games behind the table where the man was selling. And I said, do you have any games? As I looked at the games, and he was off in the garage in the back somewhere. They're on the box out there in the front. And do you have any games? Eventually, I drew his attention. He showed me the games. He just handed me the stack. I glanced quickly at the titles, and how much do you want for the games? And it was $4 or $5 for the stack. Frogger, this is the commands the least on eBay, probably because it was ubiquitous in the day. This is a little bit more. It's the Monopoly. Until I started really watching reselling videos, YouTube videos, I did not realize that a lot of the discs that you used to get all the time in magazines, and it was the free disc that came with the console, and it came, AOL used to send sample discs in the mail. This is an interactive CD sampler disc, volume 4. And this is collectible. People like to play the little samples of the games, and sometimes they'll have unusual things that really aren't available elsewhere. Sometimes it'll have games that were never released. This is a PC game. If you remember the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons, Fractured Fairy Tales, I believe this is about $12 to $15 on eBay. Again, all of these increase in value as I show them. Crash Bandicoot. It was a popular game. You saw it a lot of places, but it has a good value. Oddworld. Again, these are all the PlayStation games, except for the Fractured Fairy Tales. All of these are for PlayStation. This owner, obviously an adult, someone who's retired, I believe that these were all his personal games. And I mention that because they were adult owned, and all of the games have all of the manuals. The discs are in good shape. They also tend to have the registration cards. A couple of them have the receipts from the stores that they were bought at. South Park. I believe that's about a $25 to $30 game. And this, if you've seen my short, this was the pride and joy of that day. It is the Black Label edition, the PlayStation 1 game with the lenticular cover where the eye moves of Skull Monkeys. A game that I don't know anything about, but when I saw it, it just looked unusual, and it sells very well. It was a really good day. Sometimes you can go out and you'll hit a bunch of sales and not find anything, and other days you go out and it's just you find a bolo, and you didn't know it was going to be a bolo until you go home and you comp things out. At the home of the gentleman who was moving, I discovered this RFU adapter, or at least I thought it was an RFU adapter. I purchased it with the PlayStation games. It's actually the AV cable for PlayStation 1. At the same sale, I also picked up a copy of The Return of the King and The Fellowship of the Rings. Paid $1 for the 2 sealed copies of the VHS. And at the first yard sale of the day, I should preface this by saying I have purchased a couple of reel-to-reel players in the last 6 months or so. I purchased them, but I did not actually have any reel-to-reel tapes. And I had been looking for a lot somewhere that would have some reel-to-reel tapes. I found them in one of the last auctions that I purchased, but at a yard sale a couple of days ago, I found all of these 23 reel-to-reel tapes. Now, reel-to-reel tapes, if you don't know, actually sell between $8 to $15 used on eBay. And these were all marked in a box for $2. And I'm going to be selling them in lots. And I actually only paid $1. So you never know what you're going to find at a yard sale. When I go to yard sales, when I buy auction lots online, I try to find things, not just things that I can flip, although I would be guilty of fibbing if I said that weren't at least part of it. But mostly I try and find things that I have a connection to, things that interest me personally. I bought a projector a couple of days ago in an auction lot. I was a projectionist. I have no need for a projector. They are heavy, they are old, they do not command a great fortune, but I do have an affection for them, and I bought one. I'm going to sell it, but it's probably going to sit in a store for a while. I try to find things, I like to find things that are unusual, things that I can enjoy, things that I have a connection to. When you go shopping, when you buy auction lots, what do you look for? Hit me up in the comments below and let me know. What's the most interesting thing that you have found? I have a tale coming up in a future video of an item that I found with in a lot of other items that I didn't know was there. I didn't know the value of, and I was surprised at both. I was equally surprised at how that particular item ended up in a small southern town in a box, clearly forgotten about for decades. And I will be sharing that with you in a future video. If you're interested in any of the items that I've shown, go down to the comments. There's a link to a couple of eBay stores. You'll find these items and many more. I look forward to finding more, sharing my finds with you. Hit like if you like this video. Hey, hit like if you didn't like this video. And go to the comments and tell me why. It's the only way these videos are going to get better. If not, you have only yourself to blame. Well, and me. But be that as it may. I thank you for watching. My name is Scott. I look forward to seeing you next time.